Hi everybody, I'm Noah Schwartz, and once again it's time for another edition of Blunation. This is your home for the latest sports headlines, both with the Blugolds and the rest of the wide world of sports. So let's get started. We begin with the Blugold softball team, who were in action yesterday in a doubleheader against St. Norbert College. In the first game, St. Norbert's jumped ahead 2-0, but the Blugolds were able to regain the lead with the help of a 3-run second inning. Later in the fourth, the Blugolds put up a huge 7-run inning on their way to running away with the 12-4 win. The momentum did not slow at all between games for Eau Claire, as the Blugolds were able to score in every inning of a 13-0 shutout in Game 2. The doubleheader sweep brings the team's record up to 12-10 on the season. They'll be back on the field on Friday to open up WIAC conference play at UW-Oshkosh. Meanwhile, on the other diamond, the Blugold baseball team traveled down to the southern part of the state to take on the UW Whitewater Warhawks in a doubleheader on Monday. After leading early in Game 1, the Blugolds couldn't make the magic happen this time as they dropped both games of the Twin Bill 10-8 and 12-3. Despite the outcome, junior outfielder Nate Whitty still had himself a day, tallying 5 hits including 2 homers and coming just a single short of the cycle. The Blugolds' record stands at 5-13, and they're currently up 12-0 in the bottom of the third inning on the road against Hamlin. Wow. And elsewhere, the Blugold women's lacrosse team had a big day on Monday in their matchup against WIAC rival UW River Falls. Freshman Devin Cruz led the way, finding the back of the net 5 times, as Eau Claire walked away with the 19-12 win, beating River Falls for the first time in program history. The Blugolds now sit at 5-3, and their next game is a rematch against River Falls next Friday. Meanwhile, in pro sports now, the Baltimore Ravens have signed wideout Odell Beckham Jr. to a 1-year deal worth up to $18 million. The move comes as a surprise to many, as it is much more than the 3-time Pro Bowl wide receiver was expected to get. Most see this as an attempt by Ravens management to appease star quarterback Lamar Jackson, whose future on the team still remains uncertain. In other news, the Detroit Lions have traded cornerback Jeff Okudah to the Atlanta Falcons in exchange for a 5th-round pick in this year's draft. The 24-year-old Okudah was the 3rd overall pick in 2020, but has failed to live up to expectations in the Motor City. In his first injury-free season last year, Okudah did set career highs in both tackles and pass breakups, but was still lackluster in coverage. He's expected to compete for the number 2 cornerback spot with the Falcons. And finally, the NFL's long national nightmare is over. Well, not completely yet, but close enough. Dan Snyder has agreed to sell the Washington Commanders to a group led by billionaire Josh Harris for somewhere in the neighborhood of $6 billion. Now, folks in the business school will tell you that it's not official yet and that at least one other group is still going to submit an offer, but still, this is news worth celebrating. The NFL, and especially fans in the Washington, D.C. area, are finally getting rid of one of the biggest villains in league history. This is good news. Well, except for the fact that we don't know if Snyder will ever face any real consequences for his countless misdeeds, and that he's literally gaining $6 billion here. But still. And lastly tonight, in news that is relevant to no one except myself, after a 4-1 loss to the New Jersey Devils on Tuesday night, the Buffalo Sabres have missed the NHL's Stanley Cup playoffs for a record 12th straight season. For reference, the second longest drought in league history belongs to the Florida Panthers of the 2000s at just a paltry 10 seasons. Despite being one of the highest scoring teams in the league, lackluster play on defense and in net let them down. The Sabres finished 5th in the Atlantic Division, just 4 points out of the last wildcard spot in the Eastern Conference. Now, let's give you a little bit of extra context. Let me share my pain with you. As you can tell by this Peyton Krebs jersey, I am a Sabres fan. This is the 12th consecutive year that the Sabres have missed the playoffs. They have not made the playoffs since the 2010-11 season. For you Scotties out there, that's the same year that the Packers won the Super Bowl with Rodgers. I was in 3rd grade then. I didn't even start paying attention to hockey as a sport until I was in 5th grade. I have never seen my team in the postseason. But wait, there's more. It's been 12 years, right? In those 12 years, every other team in the National Hockey League, with the exception of the brand new Seattle Kraken, have played at least 25 playoff games. The Sabres have played none. Okay, I know that I should be grateful for Tage Thompson, Alex Tuck, Rasmus Dahlin, and especially Devin Levi between the pipes, and I should be encouraged by the improvement that the franchise has seen under GM Kevin Adams and head coach Don Granato. I should be grateful. But still, 12 seasons. They haven't been in the playoffs since before I got an iPod Touch as a kid, and they haven't advanced past the first round since before I could write my own name. This team is the reason why I'm in therapy. Well, that does it for the headlines this week. See, now is the point in the show when we'd usually show you a film of something or talk more in depth about something or maybe even interview someone of note. But, thanks to circumstances outside of our control, that isn't happening this week. So, if you don't mind, let's just sit here patiently and run out the clock. Alright, screw it. That closes the book on this episode of Blue Nation. We certainly hope you've enjoyed it. For now, I've done all the damage I can do here. To find more episodes of Blue Nation and other great TV10 content, visit us at mytv10.uwec.edu or check us out on YouTube. From all of us here in the studio, I'm Noah Schwartz. Good night, everybody.